Hello and welcome to episode 157 of My Bonus Life. A few things have happened in the last week, so let's get to it. But first, here's what I'd look like with a little black hat on. Here's what I'd look like with a little straw hat on. There you go. So here's today's agenda. So let's get straight into it. Today, the shirt I'm wearing is from Sarah Pog, Be Kind and Make Good Choices. I always love wearing this shirt now because Sarah has sadly passed away. But what she's demonstrated to me is that your message and the integrity with which you live your life can extend beyond your own life, because as we know, Sarah has sadly passed away now. And it brings me great joy to know that even with her passing, she is still remembered as a person who has influenced other people for the better. And I love wearing her shirt for that reason. And I also love living by her principles of being kind and making good choices. The second thing on the agenda is Caroline's holiday. So Caroline is currently in France. She flew out on Tuesday. And get this, there's a direct flight from Perth to London. It's 17 hours. Caroline caught that flight. She said she got 7 hours sleep on the plane, which is fantastic. She then went straight from Heathrow to St Pancras station and caught the Eurostar to Paris. And I think it takes like 4.5 hours or something to get to Paris. So she went via England, but did not actually sleep a single night in England. So there you go. And she's doing just fine. So that's great. I'm going to go get a water. Just give me a second. Okay, thanks. I've had a drink. That actually just reminded me of when I had, I've had a lot of backpackers stay at my house. And you ask them odd questions like, what's a word in Australian English that you've found very different to other versions of English? And one of my Czech friends said the word water. I said, why is that? And he goes, because the British say water, the Americans say water, and the Australians say water. So, it's saying that just made me think of that. Anyway, where were we? We're talking about Caroline. So Caroline's in France at the moment. She has already posted one video on her YouTube channel. So her channel is at Karolinski73. I'll put a link to it in the description. As I say these words now, she has 88 subscribers. I'm hoping that she'll get quite a few more by the end of her trip. She's definitely doing something that I find very interesting. So I'm keen to watch her videos. Effectively what she's doing is walking in the footsteps of her ancestor. I think it's her mother's mother's mother, who was a silk weaver. And I think also was a Calvinist or a Huguenot, and travelled between England and France and was, as I said, was a silk weaver. So Caroline is walking in those footsteps, going to various archive facilities and what have you, getting research material for a book that she's already started, actually. So that's what Caroline's doing. And she's already posted a video. I'm really excited to see what she does and what she finds out about her ancestors. So stay tuned with Caroline. Next thing is first week of work. It went really well. And at the end of this video, I'll put up some still photos that I took back at work. I'm pretty pleased. It's gone quite well, considering I haven't worked for 23 months. And bear in mind, I've gone back to the exact place that I worked 23 months ago. So I didn't have any of that sort of angst of the unknown, because I knew, I was quite clear what I was going back to. The only bit of unknown was the specifics of the objective that I've been hired to bring about. And as it turns out, I'm 99% sure I've been set up for success. So that's really good. As it turns out, all of the application teams have actually started doing their bit of the work for me, and they started by evidently probably 6 weeks ago. They started. So they're doing that. I can't give you the exact fine detail of what I'm doing because there is operational security issues, because of what I'm doing is around disaster recovery, and disaster recovery documentation tends to have everything that a hacker would love to know about vulnerabilities of the system. So I can't talk about that. What I will say though is, mainly because of the COVID epidemic, we haven't kept our disaster recovery plans as formally up to date as they should be, and we're now completely addressing that. In fact, we've already addressed a large portion of that. My job is just to put it in a form where we can demonstrate that to the Auditor General when we do our annual report. So I'm doing something that I think is very valuable to the state and valuable for the West Australian public. And if you enjoy being a public servant, you need to enjoy serving the public, and I feel like I am. So that's good. So I'm pretty happy with the way work has gone. My beard, so I've continued growing my beard. I have shaved my neck just because I thought that'd feel a bit better, which it does. This is the longest my facial hair has been for quite some years, possibly ever. But I figured, I'm on a bonus life. So one of the things I think you must do if you're on a bonus life is do some things you've never done before, or that you never got done in your first life. And I've never had a beard. So there we go. I'll see how I go growing a beard. When I was, it was when I was doing the night clubbing, so I would have been 26, 27. There was a new invention at the time that was called permanent hair removal, and it was using a ruby red laser. I signed up for that because I wanted to I had really nice skin at that stage, and I wanted to have perfect baby skin, even though I was a male, for my whole life. And these people were promising that, so I forked out a ton of money and got it done. And it turns out it's not permanent hair removal; it's permanent hair reduction. So, and as you'd remember maybe from my Hurt video, I was blonde when I was a child. So I do have, back then, even then as a 26, 27-year-old, I found out through this process that I had actually blonde hairs all the way through my beard, because of course the laser treats the dark coloured hairs really well. So that would wipe out all of the coloured hair, and what I'd be left with would be these little tufts of blonde hairs that would continue to grow. So I found that out about myself. So there you go. Anyway, the beard's going well. Back scratches. Now, Noel and I recorded a little discussion about back scratches yesterday, so let's go to that. So we are here to discuss the grand events of the back scratcher. I don't want to call it a competition, but Noel and I certainly had to go independently. So this is the prototype that Noel made. Was it ash? What was the?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, so we did that. So Noel did that in ash. Noel completed that himself, and we love it. It really, really works well. And then Noel came with about a metre section of jarrah, which is a West Australian wood. And Noel and I took that piece of jarrah, cut it in half, and we each made a back scratcher ourselves. So I'll put them together. So I made a 2-prong and Noel made a 4-prong. And hang on, bring yours back to there. Yeah. So those are the two that we made. I made the top one, Noel made the bottom one. I went first, so that means that I made some mistakes that Noel benefited from. In particular, you'll notice that my little knobs here are irregularly spaced. Noel's are regularly spaced. And mine are a bit more chunky because I used what we later found out was a blunt chisel, and Noel was smart enough to sharpen the chisel. And there you go. So how did you enjoy it? Did you?
Yeah, it's a nice exercise. The benefit of having one to work to, and then yes, I physically measured the little
finger nodules,
thickenings, and that was good. And one of the techniques is you mark it, and because you're in a lathe, you can then actually just rotate the bit of wood with the pencil leaning on it, and you get a line all the way around.
Yeah.
Then when you turn the lathe on, that line is very visible.
Yeah. So you'll notice Noel, there's a few stylistic differences. Noel decided to round the end of his. I left mine square, which means that mine actually does stand up.
Let's take it.
If we take away the fabric. So mine will stand up and Noel's will not. However, Noel has gone for a broader scratching area than mine. So obviously Noel gets pretty much twice as, it's very close to twice as much area when you scratch. However, there is a big difference with the head, which is that I went for I've recurved past vertical, if we go there.
Yep.
And you have, but I've got more of a scratchy scratch.
Yeah.
And you've got more of a
top edge.
You've got more of a knobby scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah. However, I have tested them both and they're both delightful. So there you go. We've decided to keep our own back scratches each. So this will become part of the Eddington Moran household, and Noel's will stay in the Eddington Van den Ende household. So there you go. So that's how the back scratches went at the Vincent Community Shed. So back to the regular program. Thank you. There you go. So we had a really, really great time. One thing I am enjoying about the community shed or woodwork is that woodwork allows you to add your personal touches. So you'd see, even though Noel and I had exactly the same objective, which was to make a back scratcher, our personal design decisions were apparent in the final result. And I really like that about woodwork and being able to show your personality. And more generally, I like things that have function and form. So things like a beautiful back scratcher, I find really nice. I'm not so much into trinkets that just sit on a shelf. I like things that look beautiful but also do something. So back scratcher fits that criteria quite well. Now, the next thing on the agenda is the cancer tests. So every 3 months, I am to get a review of my situation with cancer, and my 3 months has just come up. So this is my second 3-month test after my last operation. So on Tuesday, I gave blood, which will do my blood tumour markers, and on Friday, I had a CT scan. So as you recall, it takes about 1 day for that to get reported, and then 7 days where it's quarantined, where I'm not allowed to see it on my MyGov account. So I think next Saturday, or it depends when my CT scan got reported on. I don't know whether they do it on a Saturday, but roughly next Saturday, my bloods and my CT scan should be available for me to see. And of course, I'll let you know how that goes. I'm going to wait until they're both available, because you don't really have the full picture unless you look at both things, unless you can say that my blood is showing this and the CT scan is showing this. Even though I'm going to get my blood results about 3 days before my CT scan, I'm going to try and not look, because if they're good, that isn't quite, it almost is categoric, but yeah, it almost is categoric. But if they're bad or indeterminate, that's certainly not categoric. The real picture only becomes available when you look at both things together. Anyway, we'll talk about that next week. Now, the last thing is subscribe and like. So if you haven't already, please click that subscribe button, click that like, and then go over to Caroline's channel and do the same for her. We all know and love Caroline, so I'm sure you're hoping to support her. Remember, she is an introvert. So what she's doing here is only because she's become comfortable with, with watching me and seeing that my subscribers are treating me with love and that it is okay. So get in there and support Caroline. She's doing a great job. Okay, thank you from Paul in Perth, and be kind and make good choices. See you later. Bye.